Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another J. Robinson Art Peiloff painting project. We're going to be painting something for the winter scenes for the holidays coming up, and we're going to try to keep it kind of neutral. So we're going to be painting a very nice snowman. Now this snowman is very simple, very easy, and a lot of fun. I'm going to take you through all of the steps. You could paint along with me. You know that this is a video, so you have the ability to pause it, rewind it at any point. I'm going to introduce the products that we're going to be using today and what I'm going to be using to paint this project for the video. Basically, off camera, I have a cup of water. I have my paint packets. I have my canvas, my palette sheet that's on the glossy side. I have a paper towel. I have a plastic apron. We provide you with a spatula to remove the peel. I also provide you with 2 brushes to be able to paint every project that we have. Now, if you have your own brushes, which I'll be using some today for purposes of expediting it through the video, please feel free to use them for your own comfort. So let's get started with the canvas. The canvas is an 8x10 with the peel on it. We're going to be painting the background gray, some snow, some little mounds. Then we're going to remove the peel and work on a snowman. Today, I'm going to be using a series of brushes of my own in order to help the video move along a little faster. But trust me when I tell you, the brushes that we provide you will do a sufficient job if you don't have any. But again, if you have your own, please feel free to use them. Let's talk about the paint we'll be using today. Today we'll be working with a very limited palette. Today we're going to be working with 4 colors, but we'll actually be creating 5, maybe even 6 if you count the gray. So let me show you how we're going to do that. We have black, we have white, we have red, and we have yellow. Now let's squeeze them out. We always like to provide you with much more paint than you'll be using, so you don't really have to squeeze out a lot. I would highly recommend you squeeze out a little, and if you need to add more, by all means do so. Here's a little bit of black to get us started. Here's a little bit of white. Now from this black and white, we will be mixing a gray today. So I'm going to teach you how to mix colors today, just only 2, not too many. And then we're going to have some yellow. These packets are really kind of cool. Very easy to open, very easy to use. And then here we have some red. Now the red and the yellow, there's really not a lot of colors that we're going to be using of that today, but again, I just want to squeeze out enough for you to visually see it and just remind you, save some of the paint for other projects. Okay, I'm going to be taking this flat brush to paint the background. You could use this flat brush or any flat brush that you have. What I like to do is just immediately take some white and just throw some of that on the canvas. We will be mixing this into gray, but I like to put the white to help me diffuse the color rather easily and rather quickly. It also helps me with the tonal values. Now, how far down you want to make your background is up to you, but I'm going to go probably about midway of his body. I know that really doesn't help you, but you can eyeball it. You'll be able to see it with no problem. And see, by placing the white, this then allows me to pick up a small amount of black and test it just to see how gray it's going to get. I don't mind the gray being a little streaky, so it doesn't have to be a solid color because it's a snowman and this is supposed to be kind of a snowy background. So there could be a lot of things going on in the back there. But if you notice, by putting the white, it gives you an opportunity to just soften up the colors to your desire. Now I'm going to go a lot stronger than this, but I'm just trying to show you how to set it all up. And remember, I said I would go about midway to his body. So that's where I'm going to stop, like right about there will be where my background stops. I'm going to introduce some more white. I'm going to grab a little bit darker black. And now I'm just going to really push this in really quickly. Just like to give you an idea of how to do things so you can kind of follow along. But again, don't forget, this is a video, so you have the ability to stop it There. Now I'm just gonna enrich in this color a little bit because I really want this to be a little darker so you can see it at home. When you're painting, you can make the values to any degree that you like. You can go darker or lighter as you desire. And the compensation for that is either more white or more black. Yeah, this is good. See, I like this little streakiness back there, so I'm not even gonna mess with that too much anymore. I'm just gonna continue to move along. Now I'm adjusting my colors to my preference, which I strongly suggest you do the same, because we'll never be able to exactly paint each other's. I won't be able to paint exactly like you, and maybe some of you, I know you're good, may or may not be able to paint exactly like me. And you shouldn't. You shouldn't worry about that. You should just do the best that you can. Now, for purposes of this video, I believe that this is really dark enough. Just want to add a little bit more value here. There. Now that I have the background, before I even move too much further, I'm just going to pick up some white and I'm going to make a snow line right into the edge. See, now I have my background. Now I'm just going to create a little bit of a snow line back here, how I'm cutting into the actual gray that I made. Here's where having more paint comes in handy. I simply squeeze out some white. See? Now with this brush, I'm just going to push in the snow. Now, even though the canvas is white, and you notice I didn't clean my brush because I really wanted just a slight hint of gray to be working within this part of the painting too. And I don't mind it being streaky. And I don't know if you notice, but I'm going left and right. And I'm not trying to change any of this back here. For the background, I went up and down. For the snow, I'm going left and right. Now that I have my snow in, we're going to make a few little mounds here. So I'm going to pick up some of this gray. And let's just pretend there's some kind of a shadow back here. So I'm just going to take the gray, streak some color, and just call that a day. I'm going to make it darker for purposes of the video. There. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to grab some of this color. I'm going to go right along his body edge here and say that there's a shadow here. This is just a shadow that's reflected in the snow. Now, I see that I have some little dimples at the bottom. So why don't we take some of this gray and just create the look of some mounds like that. Just curl the brush like this, curl the brush like that. Take a little bit more of this grayish value, put a few little things up in here. Let's just enrich this, make this a little darker over here. Bear with me, I don't want it to be too dark. There. There's a mound of snow at the foot of our snowman. And now these are just going to act as just some other things. And again, let me build this up just a little bit so you can see it. There. Now that's enough. That gives me everything that I want for my background, for my foreground, which is the snow, and some shadows down here. When we peel, we'll add some more shadows. So, you just make sure that I'm satisfied with that. I think I am. But something's telling me to go a little darker for you. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to add a little bit of black and gray, just to make it really darker. And I'm going to go hit this one more time. Now, you don't have to do this part. I'm doing this for you, so that in the video, you can see all of the little things that I'm going to be doing next. We've already laid it out, so you can pretty much go with that as the layout portion. And just consider me doing this for you to be able to visually see what I'm about to do next, which is the snow and adding some effects like that. So I'm just going to try to darken this up just so you can see those speckles when I put them on. So I'm actually making my picture a lot darker then I would recommend you do yours. However, that being said, you have the option of creating your own world. So again, You see the difference between where I was going to put it and that? And so when I do my speckles, which are going to be the snow, you'd be able to see them better to understand how they work. So I'm doing this for you to be able to visually see the effects that I'm about to put on next. So I'm taking a couple of extra minutes just to darken up my background for you at home watching this video to see how it works. Okay, let's just add some of this. Get this. I'm trying to get this as fast as possible. I don't want to bore you with all of this, but I want you to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing so that you can understand how to do it for yourself if you choose to. Just move this. Okay. I'm going to have to say that this is good enough. There, that's dark enough. It's a little bit darker. That's really all I wanted. Because now I'm going to clean off my brush. I'm going to cut closer. Ring the bell. Wipe that on a paper towel. Now, I'm going to pick up this brush. I'm going to be flipping it like this. This is going to help me make the snow pattern. I'm going to dip the brush in water. Don't wipe it. Tap it right into some white. Take the brush and just flip the bristles and let the spritzels fall. Now this is why I made it darker, so when I do this, you'll see them a lot quicker. There, and I'm going to put a lot, so I'm just going to keep flipping until I'm okay with what I have. And then I'm going to show you a nice, neat trick. Okay. Okay, that's good enough. And this is the trick. Let's take the brush that I gave you. I'm going to take this brush, twirl it into some white, and now I'm just going to make a series of dots. These are going to be bigger than the ones I spritzed on just now. And that's going to help give the whole snow effect a little bit more dimension. And the cool thing about this is you're just taking a brush and you're just literally making dots. And I would make them all over, random. Don't try to think about where they go. Just take the brush and just dot them around. You don't have to paint on the peel with this just yet because it's going to be coming off. So I'm sticking with just the background. And by adding these dots, plus the spritz that I call it, you give your snow such a cool effect. See? Some snowflakes are right in your face. Other snowflakes are like falling off in the distance. And there, that's enough. I don't know how many I put, so don't ask. And you don't need to worry. You just make as many of these dots as you want. Just like the spritz, you make as much of those as you want. And there, I'm going to leave that like that. Clean off my brush. And now, let's get ready to peel off the snowman, which is the heart of the painting. So here I'm going to take the spatula. I'm going to find any spot. I'm going to just go underneath just enough to start that. See? I stuck it in there just enough to get this going. Now I'm just going to grab it, and at a 90-degree angle, I'm just going to peel. And there's our snowman shape. That's the beauty of peel off. It's not meant to do anything else but to be an aid for you. I'm going to take this brush, put a little black on it. And if you look at the brim, the hat, like here's the hat and here's the brim. So I'm just going to take and I'm just going to create a line that's going to represent the brim of his hat. So I'm just going to say it goes like that. And then everything above that line, no matter what brush you want to use, you could use this one, you could use the flat one. You want to fill that hat in totally black. So I'm going to use this so I can move a little quickly to move on to the next phase. So I'm just going to paint in the hat. This is all I'm going to do now. I'm just going to take my time. looking at the lines, try to stay within them, and paint the snowman's hat. We'll decorate it and do some other things to it later, but for right now, we just want to block it in. And blocking it in means just filling it in. That's it. That line helps me know where the hat stops, so I know not to go below that line, and I can just stay within the contours of the shape that we've created. And look, I got half a hat. Trying to keep my hands out of the way of the camera so you can see. And there. Almost done. Now I'm going to go on this angle and finish my hat off. Trying to stay right within the lines, because the lines are right there. The whole white part is showing you where the hat is. And again, use whichever brush is comfortable for you. There. Okay. Now that we have that, I'm going to wipe this off. And of course, the next thing we're going to do, using that same pointed brush, putting some black on it, I'm just going to try and straighten out my brim. We're going to add some eyes, buttons, and then we'll work on the next phase. Okay, so here we go. Let's go with the eyes. Now the eyes are easy. We already have the hat, so we know that below him are 2 dots for eyes. So it doesn't really matter. We're just going to put a circle for an eye here and a circle for an eye here. Now we have the eye. Now we're going to come back and do the mouth in a moment, because right now I want to show you a few things. If you look at his head, there's a little bit of a hump. This is where the scarf is going to go. So we know that his head will be up here. So below that, we got, this is the rest of the body, but we need 3 buttons. So why don't we start with 1 button about here. Then we'll go with another button just a little bit below the midsection, about here. And then we'll just go with another dot right about here. And there's our snowman's buttons. See? And I promised you we were going to come back. But now I'm going to mix the very last color that we're going to do today. Same brush. I'm going to take a little tiny bit of yellow, a little tiny bit of red, mix them together. Make sure that you have enough yellow so that it starts to turn orange. See? Now we got a nice orange color. With this, we're going to make a carrot nose, which is just kind of a V. I'm going to go between the eyes. I'm going to draw a line and say there's the point for the nose there. And I'm just going to come back very small and say there's the nose right there. So now let me build my nose. I'm just going to fill it in. Just making kind of a triangular shape. And there, that'll act as my snowman's nose. Just neaten it up a little bit. I'm happy with that. There's my snowman's nose. Clean off my brush. Now we're going to put a series of dots to represent the cold for his mouth. So maybe I'll start right around here and just go dot, 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 and dot. That's good enough. That's enough dots that represents my snowman's mouth. Now, with the same brush again, I'm going to take some red and right here where those humps were, I'm going to draw a line to say this is going to be the top of the scarf. See? And you still have a little bit of that showing, so just follow it along and say that this right here represents the bottom of the scarf. First, I'm going to start with the top. See? And then just fill it in. You could always straighten it up as you go, but Right now we've established where the scarf is. So I'm just going to fill this in. See? Now, the scarf hangs down, but it hangs a little to the side. So I'm going to just take and maybe make a little bit of a hump here. See, not much, just a little bit of a shape. And then I'm going to draw line number 1 and just make it kind of wiggly. And say that's the back part of the scarf. Just going to grab this paint, and just wiggle it, and create this shape that's going to be part of the scarf. And I don't want it to be straight. You can make yours straight, you can make yours crooked, you can make yours long. Maybe mine ends right about here. And then there's another piece to the scarf. So I'm just going to come right back into this shape and say it goes over here and it wiggles down like that, maybe a little longer. And this is going to represent the other part of the scarf, like it's curled over, if you will. And we'll go into that detail stuff at the end. But right now, I just want to give you an idea of how to go about it. We're almost done. Look at this. This was quick. This was easy. And there you have it. We have our snowman, we have our scarf, we have our face, we have our buttons, our snow, our mound. What do you think is next? That's right, his arms. Now this is where you could have some fun because it's just lines, but they're connecting lines. So I'm going to start on this side. I'm going to take and go and pointing slightly up. I'm just going to pull a line and say that's going to be part of his arm. Now watch how cool this is. From this one arm, I'm going to fatten it up towards the bottom just a little bit. And let it stay skinny there. Now I'm going to add other lines right to this line. So maybe there's a line that comes this way. Almost like a Y. You see that? Now that's a series of Ys, let's call it. Let's make another one right there. And maybe there's a little one right there. Look how cool that branch looks. Let's do some more on the other one. Let's go here. Make a line that connects from this. And maybe there's another one like that. I like that. I think I'm going to do one more just because. Maybe there's a little one that just extends from here. There. There's arm number 1. Just a bunch of little lines and a bunch of Ys. Why? Because we like you. Now let's go on the other side. Just going to grab from here and just take and make one line. Okay. You could always load up the brush again and come off and make this line a little bit more visible for you, like that. And now I'm going to take and draw a branch line that extends maybe right here with a Y on it. See that? And maybe from that Y, there's another little branch that comes off here and maybe goes there. You see how easy that is? Maybe there's a little Y that sticks out right there. And maybe there's one more that comes off right here. And voila, he has his arms extended out. I love it. I love it. Now, we're going to decorate a little bit. First, we're going to decorate some snow on top of his hat. So I'm going to take some white and right at the crown of his hat up here, I'm just going to place a little line, make it a little sort of a circular shape. So that'll be the snow that's sitting on the top of his hat. And maybe there's a little bit of snow that landed on the corner of his hat here. And maybe right over here. See? See that? How cool is that? Maybe even, taking the snow again, there's a little bit of snow that landed right on the top of his arm. So I'm just going to run some white right along the top of the arm. See? And then maybe there's some on the other side. This is what you call the decoration parts. This is the gems. See? Now he looks like he has snow that is not only falling from the sky, but it fell on his hat and is resting on his arm. So because this arm is big too, let's put a little bit right there and a little bit right there. We don't need to go crazy. There. I'm going to show you another cool little trick. If you take the white and you go right near the branches and you make some little droplets like this, we're going to turn these into lights. So I'm just going to take and find some branches, almost like the snow background that we did. Except these are a little bit different in shape. I'm going to wipe off the brush. I'm going to pick up some yellow. And I'm going to go right back over what I just did and let those be some yellow lights that somehow are miraculously lit on this snowman. See that? Just the color adds a little extra pop to the entire painting. Just the fact that you're being creative with the color. See? So now that's done. Show you one last trick and then we're going to call this painting finished. I'm going to take this brush, put a little white on it, a little black. Going to make me a very, very light gray. And then I'm just going to take this gray and maybe right underneath his hat, there's a shadow. It extends over here. Add just a tad white. And maybe it comes along the side of his face. And maybe there's a little bit that comes over here on his body. Put a little white to this. See? Maybe it keeps going all the way down this side of his body. This is for you pros. Some of you could have stopped a while ago. And maybe it goes right along the bottom of his body here. Maybe a little bit on this one. This is some shadow work we're putting in. And now, take a little bit of that white. Soften this up just a smidgen. And there's the shadows on my snowman. Well, I hope you had fun. I know I did. I love being creative with you. I love giving you the opportunity to see how it works, how you can be creative as you want to be, and you have yourself this wonderful, beautiful snowman painting. Well, thank you for joining me. I look forward to painting with you the next time. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube station, J. Robinson Art, and give us a thumbs up and a like. And by subscribing, when we put out new videos, you'll be one of the first to know. Well, thank you, and until next time, bye-bye.